Hello friends. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to create a grid in Photoshop. Grids are incredibly useful for design, layout and alignment work, so learning how to create one can save you a lot of time in the future. This is a simple process and I'll guide you through it step by step, ensuring you understand each part clearly. Let's dive in. To begin, open Photoshop. If you don't have a project open, go to the File menu at the top and select New to create a new canvas. For this tutorial, we'll use a canvas size of 20 inches by 20 inches. You can enter these dimensions in the width and height fields of the New Document dialog box. This size is a great starting point, but if you're working on a specific project, you can adjust the dimensions to fit your needs. Once you've set the size, click Create to open your blank canvas. Next, we'll make use of rulers to help us position our grid lines. Rulers are essential for precise placement, and enabling them is simple. Press Ctrl+R on your keyboard, or Command+R if you're using a Mac, to make the rulers appear along the top and left edges of your workspace. If you prefer using the menu, you can also go to View and click on Rulers. You'll see measurement markers appear, which we'll use to place guides. Now, we need to add guides to mark the center of our canvas. Guides are non-printing lines that help you align objects perfectly. Since our canvas is 20 inches wide and 20 inches tall, the center point is at 10 inches. Click on the ruler at the top of the canvas and drag downward to place a guide at the 10-inch mark. Repeat this process with the left side ruler, dragging it horizontally to the 10-inch mark. These two guides will form a cross at the center of your canvas, making it easier to align your grid. With the guides in place, we're ready to draw the first grid lines. Select the line tool from the toolbar on the left side of your screen. If you don't see it, right-click on the shape tools. It might show a rectangle or another shape by default, until the drop-down menu appears, and then select the Line tool. At the top of your workspace, you'll find options for the Line tool. Set the thickness to 1 or 2 pixels, depending on how bold you want your grid lines to be. Choose a color that stands out from your background for better visibility. Now, draw the first vertical line. Position your cursor at the top of the canvas, directly on the center guide. Hold down the Shift key as you click and drag to the bottom of the canvas. Holding Shift ensures the line remains perfectly straight. Once the line is drawn, it will align with the vertical guide you placed earlier. Repeat this process to create a horizontal line. Place your cursor on the left edge of the canvas, align it with the center guide, and hold Shift as you drag to the right edge. At this point, you have the beginnings of a grid with one vertical and one horizontal line crossing at the center. If you need more lines to complete your grid, you can repeat this process, placing additional vertical and horizontal lines at equal intervals. For example, you could add lines every inch or every half inch, depending on how detailed you want your grid to be. Once you're satisfied with the grid lines, it's time to clean up the workspace by removing the guides. If you no longer need them, just drag each of the guide to its end. This will remove all the guides from your canvas. Now, let's turn your grid into a reusable pattern. First, make sure the background layer is invisible. To do this, go to the Layers panel and click the eye icon next to the background layer. This step ensures that only the grid lines are included in the pattern and not the background. Next, go to the Edit menu at the top of the screen and select Define Pattern. A dialog box will appear asking you to name your new pattern. Choose a descriptive name, like Grid Pattern, and click OK to save it. To test your new pattern, create another new canvas. This time, set the size to something larger, like 40 inches by 40 inches, to see how the grid repeats. Once your new canvas is open, select the Paint Bucket tool from the toolbar. At the top of the screen, in the Tool Options bar, change the fill type from Foreground to Pattern. Click the drop-down menu next to the patterns and locate the grid pattern you just saved. Select it and then click anywhere on your new canvas. The entire canvas will be filled with your repeating grid pattern. You've now successfully created a reusable grid in Photoshop.